I won the maiden HOD's prize, which was worth 1 million naira. So aside being the best graduating student, I might come as a shock to you, but I did not go to 9 classes. My friends know me, I don't go to 9 class. I read in my room. That's why I said what works for me might not work for you, but this is something that worked for me.
And I could remember we were having a conversation some time ago, and you mentioned that you are, if I'm correct, you are the only first class from your class.
Yes.
My goodness.
Yes.
You have the results. You
Yes.
understand the process that got you the results. So when you mean putting the work, what kind of work do you mean?
So
we Nigerian students would love to know, can you briefly start by giving us a list of all the awards or all the achievements that you got as the overall best student? I believe as the best graduating student.
Okay, so my name is Onakhe Ojo, and I was the best graduating student from the Department of Optometry as of 2024 in the University of Benin. So aside being the best graduating student, I was the valedictorian. I was the best clinical student. I won the maiden HOD's prize, which was worth 1 million naira. I was the best in physiological optics and several subjects. I was also the best researcher for my supervisor.
Wow, one person, all these things. I would like to be like you when I grow up. Honestly, you mentioned that you studied optometry, if I'm correct.
Yes.
I would love to know why, out of all courses that you would have studied, why that particular course?
Well, I do have a passion for eye care and promoting eye health all around communities in Nigeria and Africa as a whole. So, what's best way to further this or feel this passion than studying about the eyes? So, this was why I actually went for optometry.
Wow, that's quite a passion. Studying about the eyes. I came from a background where waiting be eye. I beg engineering, doctor, and the rest. But sometimes they don't understand that the concept of doctor has it's vast. There are doctors for the eyes, doctors for the body, and the rest. But let's get down to what we have today. For you to emerge as the best student, the best graduating student that was also the valedictorian, I believe there are sacrifices that you made on this journey. So we would love to know, what was the biggest sacrifice you made on this journey?
The biggest sacrifice was um being consistent and disciplined, because in school there are a lot of distractions, from parties to hanging around with friends, so a lot of stuff. So there are a variety of activities you can be involved in school that might actually distract you a bit off academics. So that discipline was like the biggest sacrifice. I had to sacrifice every other thing just to like focus and excel academically.
Wow. You mentioned about discipline. Discipline. So you mentioned about discipline. I would love to know, because this is one word I feel that many persons hear but don't have an understanding on. I would love to know, when you use the word discipline, what do you actually mean? What comes to your mind? What's the definition of discipline?
Discipline is choosing to do what you are supposed to do even when you don't feel like. That's the
Mm.
simple way I can define it.
Wow. Choosing what you're supposed to do even when you don't feel like.
Yes, choosing to do it.
Because I feel this is one thing that many Nigerian students needs to imbibe into their lives. Choosing to study even when you don't feel like, choosing to do your assignments even when you don't feel like, choosing to come for lectures even when you don't feel like. Thank you so much, for that. Now, I want us to go back down memory lane. If you could go back to your 100 level, what would you do differently?
I think the mindset I had in my 100 level days was you have to cram to pass. So over my time from two to final year, I got to understand that the kind of profession that I am in is not one that you just have to cram to pass. You actually need to understand, because you are not dealing with exam sheets in real life. You're dealing with people's eyes, and you're dealing with people's eyes and their lives as a whole. So, which is why I believe understanding should be your main goal instead of cramming.
So you're trying to say that if you had to meet your 100 level version, tell him to focus on understanding concepts than cramming just to pass exams.
Yes.
But do you think because I'm trying to wrap my head around the current educational system. Do you think we are being taught to understand, or we are being taught to kind of pass exams?
I think it depends on the system. It's
Mm.
not it's not it's not a hard and fast. It's not just straight up. I think it depends on you. Your lecturers might teach you to just pass your exams and all, cause maybe the semester is short, and they might just break it down and teach you the simpler concepts, but it's up to you as a student to go the extra mile, watch YouTube videos, read textbook, ask questions, just try to put yourself to engross and absorb whatever it is you're studying so you can actually understand, even if the lecturers or the system actually teaches you to pass exams only.
That's quite a mindset, though. The mindset that this is the system that you find yourself in, but I choose not to walk in their path. I choose to also walk in a path that I have for myself, just for my future, so that when I get to a certain point, I won't have anybody to blame, because I feel like we are all in the blame game. Blame that lecturer teach us to pass exam, so I'm here to pass exam, not knowing that, guys, this is your life. They are living their life. You are living your life. You call the shots in your life. If you find yourself in a system, you have the right to define your own path whilst being in that system. So thank you so much. I believe Nigerian students, and there are a lot of things that we truly believe about success in school and academically. So I would love
Okay.
to know from your own perspective and from your own journey, what do you think is the biggest lie Nigerian students believe about success in school?
Okay, I think is the fact that they believe some people are brilliant, like you are just brilliant, and some people are just dull. So sorry to use that word, but it's a concept some people have. So I don't believe anyone is actually born that way. I believe it's a result of consistent efforts, discipline, and just putting in the work. So it doesn't matter whether you're not doing well, you're doing too well as a now. But I believe if you put in the work, you can actually achieve whatever you want to as a student, academically, most especially.
If you put in the work. When I entered school, that higher institution, I was hearing you need to study to make first class and the rest. You need to study. And some persons, if you seek out for advice, they'll tell you put in the work. Put in the work. For me, to a certain degree, I feel that is, don't you think that is vague? When we mean work, what kind of work should they put into? Because I believe freshers are going to be watching this video. And when they hear put in the work, what do we actually mean by
Okay,
putting in
so
the work? Because I have friends that these guys studies, they studied, but come on, they didn't make first class. So when we mean put in the work, I want us to kind of break it down. You have the results. You
yes.
understand the process that got you the results. So when you mean put in the work, what kind of work do you mean?
So first of all, I believe what works for me might not work for you, but
Okay.
this is something that works for me. So I usually attend class. I attend classes a lot. I sit at the front seats. I believe if you stay at the back of the class, you're not really engrossed in whatever the lecturer is teaching you. The days when I miss classes, or maybe I have an event or a meeting or something, I have friends who write and I go back to revise. Some of my friends even make recordings of the class, so I can go back to actually listen like I was actually in that class. I read at night. It might come as a shock to you, but I did not go to 9 classes.
Mm?
My friends know me. I don't go to 9 class. I read in my room. That's why I said what works for me might not work for you, but this is something that worked for me.
My goodness.
I always read in my room usually. I do discussions with friends. Sometimes I might teach because I feel it is when you can explain it, when you can explain a concept to someone that you truly understand it. It's not just about knowing.
Mm,
Yeah,
Albert
so
Einstein.
yes, yes, yes. So this was actually what works for me, and this is what I mean when I say you should put in the work.
Wow, wow. Now we now have I believe a holistic understanding of what you mean by putting in the work. And thank you so much for actually breaking it down, because I believe they need to know when they hear work, what does actually work mean. But now I want us to reflect on your journey. Can you tell us about a time that you almost wanted to give up?
Okay, so there was I think in my fourth year, I was combining leadership with academics and so many other activities all at once. So as at then, I was the director of welfare for my faculty. So And I was actually new to the whole politics thing. It was taking so much of my time with meetings, with projects, and then I have exams, I have patients to attend to, I have clinic sessions. It was a lot, and I think at that point there was a time I actually wanted to resign for that position, but I had to learn how to manage my time and how to delegate duties. So these two concepts, they helped me to navigate through that process, and thankfully I didn't give up. I'm not a quitter.
That's quite an experience. I never knew you were a comrade.
I,
Comrade.
yes, I've done a bit of everything.
And I'm like wrapping my head around how you meddled all these things and still came out as the best. And I could remember we were having a conversation some time ago, and you mentioned that you are, if I'm correct, you are the only first class from your class.
Yes,
My goodness.
yes,
Not be joke. Oh. And you came out with around 4.69.
yes, yes.
You must touch something on my head after tonight's section. So I would love to know, because I've been listening from your story, and it seems like to a certain degree you're kind of a funny guy. I would love to know, can you share with us one of the funniest thing that happened to you while on campus?
One of the funniest things that happened to me while on campus. I think that's when I was late for a class and I didn't even bother to check if my classmates were the one inside. I just knew that was the venue. So I rushed in to sit, and like when I turned around, they were not my set mates. The venue had been changed, but because I was in a hurry, so it was so funny that they had to like, oh, apologize to the lecturer and go back to look for my classmate.
That scenario might actually look embarrassing. You just sat down with your serious mood, brought out your
Yeah,
materials, and you're looking around. These faces are that they are
it's not
strange.
familiar.
I'm just imagining how you're going to be apologizing to the lecturer that you're actually in the wrong class, and how the class is just going to burst out, in
Yeah.
laughter. But then, I want us to also reflect on your exam.
Okay.
What was the craziest exam experience you had?
I think the craziest should be my first Viva exams. So that usually happens in year four.
Your
So
first what?
Viva exams, it's like an oral examinations for your clinic exams. So maybe they might ask you, the questions come at random. You can read the textbook, and no question will come out from there.
Ew.
So basically like real life, real cases. What will you do in this scenario? What is this? Like there's no manual to it. It just comes, and because it was my first oral exam, I was very, very tensed, very, very tensed, and I think I even stammered in some cubicles, but I eventually got a hold of myself, and yeah, I think that was the craziest exam for me during my time.
Every Nigerian student will always have that exam that actually shocked them. Mine, because of time, I won't share mine. Mine was also in my mine was my final exam, like my final year exam. One of my final exam, I entered the exam hall and I saw future questions, but it's all good. Thank God we passed the course.
Thank God.
I'm telling you. So I would love to know.
Okay.
I would love to know what's the difference between how you saw school in your 100 level and now.
And now,
Yes.
uh, I think there isn't much difference because in my 100 level, thankfully, I had like very great roommates. I think there was this person I knew in my 100 level. The guy was in final year engineering. So I was hearing about how this guy was having first class every semester, every session, and I was like, Emeka, I want to be like you. So like with the way like my orientation then based on the kind of friends I had, my roommates and all, it's actually pushed me. So when I see this guy reading from three, his ninth class starts at 3 in the afternoon. That's when he starts his own ninth class. They
Mm.
have a reading room called in all four in UNIBEN. UNIBEN alumni will know what I'm talking about. Watching like these people and like how they prioritize academics. I had that kind of mindset right from the start, and my family is one that also prioritizes academics. So I think this whole background also like shaped me to achieve what I did.
Powerful, powerful. So we want to wrap up with the question that's been pressing me in my mind.
Okay.
Um, I am an educational activist, and there are things about education that I kind of question a lot.
Okay.
And I am a fan believer of the scriptures. So there is this proverb that says, "In all things get understanding."
Okay.
So personally, I would love to know, what has your schooling experience helped you understand?
I think, I studied optometry. So schooling, I did not just pass through the school, like they say, I allowed the school pass through me. So what's actually imbibed in me was this empathy towards those in underserved communities, because aside being students, I was also passionately volunteering in various communities across Nigeria. So that's something that I'm even most proud of, aside my academic achievements. So I think this is what school has helped me develop, and because of this like passion, it's something I want to even further, like how to improve vision of others in my grad school experience, which I'm hoping to do in the nearest future.
Powerful. So it's the experience helped you to understand life from a broader perspective, and
Yes.
also have empathy for a lot of persons as well. And one of the things if you don't mind me sharing, one of the things that this school helped me to understand was that life was beyond certificates.
Yes.
There is a lot that meets the eye. When I entered school, I thought all you just needed to be relevant in this world was just to get a certificate, first class honors for that matter. But in the process, my eyes started opening. I started having an understanding that it is just beyond a paper. The paper is just a reward that they give you at the end of your process to see how diligent you are in your academic pursuits. But beyond that, there are a lot of things that you are meant to have learned, building strategic networks, broadening your horizon, and the rest. So it gave me that holistic understanding about life from a wider lens. And I'm so grateful to God for that particular experience and journey. I want to also use this opportunity to say thank you so much for your time. Well, we believe you got value from this conversation. Now, what is the one thing you learned from this episode? Please let us know in the comment section. Thank you, and see you on Monday.